Okay, so for 5-5, we're going to talk about a new form, which is called standard form, okay? So we've done slope-intercept, we've done point slope, and now standard form is this format. Let's write it down. It's ax plus by equals c, all right? And all that means is that we're going to have a number and then x, then a number before the y, and it sometimes is even 1, okay? And then it's going to equal a number. That's a format of an equation. Oh, I'm so sorry that that's blinking. Hopefully it doesn't do that the whole time. All right. So the good thing about this format is it's easy to identify not only the y-intercept, but the x-intercept. And that is something that you only need 2 points to make a graph accurately. And so if you can do the 2 intercepts on the y and the x, okay, that's good, right? So that's what we're going to start with. So what are the x and y intercepts of the graph of 3x plus 4y equal 24? Well, this is how you do it. To get the x-intercept, you set y equal to 0, all right? So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to set y equal to 0. So if I set y equal to 0, right, I technically have 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 24, don't I? What's 4 times 0? 0. Can I take that right out? Yeah, so I really have 3x equals 24. How do I solve that, Malcolm? Divide, that's right. Divide by 3 and divide by 3. This tells me x equals 8. And I said y was 0, right? So the point for the x-intercept is x is 8, y is 0. That's our x-intercept. Does that make sense? I'll show you on the graph in a second. Okay, then it says give the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0. So I'm going to do that here. Set x equal to 0. And you can already probably guess what's going to happen here. So 3 times 0 plus 4y equal 24. Well, same deal, right? 3 times 0 is 0. So I can take that right out of there. So now I really have 4y equals 24, don't I? And then the step to solve it is the same. I do what? Divide. Good. Okay. So y equals 6. So the y-intercept, I already said x is 0, right? So it's 0, 6. That's the y-intercept. And so let's label that. This is my x-intercept. This is my y-intercept. Now, sometimes they don't do it as an ordered pair, though. They might just say x is 8, right? And y is 6 for the intercepts. Or they'll give you as an ordered pair. Let me show you what that looks like on the graph. So, sorry, that got low, didn't it? All right, so if we were to graph this, if they asked us for a graph, let's do it up here. So our x-axis is here. This is our y. All right, our x-intercept is 8. So I know I got to go to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I can make a dot. 8, 0. That is right here on the x line. That's a dot that I get. That's this. My y-intercept is 6. So if I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I get that dot right there. And then all I have to do is draw a line through those 2 dots. And I'm going to use a ruler since I'm on video and I don't want it to look like a hot mess. You guys can use the side of your folder if you don't want yours to look like a hot mess. That's the graph. That's the graph of that. Without getting into y equals, without figuring out slope, without figuring out anything but the intercepts, you can make the graph. All right, let's do it again. So problem 2 is the same type of thing. This time, so the first problem, we actually didn't have to graph it, but I wanted to show you what it meant. So problem 2 says, what is the graph of x minus 2y equal negative 2? All right, so it says use the intercept. So we're going to do that. We're going to start by setting y equal to 0 again. So let's do that. Set y equal to 0. When I set y equal to 0, what intercept am I finding? X. Okay, so here I go. X minus 2 times 0 equal negative 2. Which part can I drop out of that? Go ahead, David.
2 times 0.
That's right. So I can really, if I drop that whole thing out, I really have x equal negative 2. Am I done with that one? That one's done. All right. As an ordered pair, just in case we need it, right? It means that x is negative 2, y is 0. That's the ordered pair. All right. So we know one of them. Let's do the other. What do I set equal to 0 this time on the second one? Go ahead, Carla. I set x equal to 0. All right, let's go. And I'm writing everything down just so that when you look back at it, you know. All right, so 0 minus 2y equal negative 2. All right, what part can drop out? 0. So I really have negative 2y equal negative 2. Divide, yes. Divide by negative 2. Y equals what? 1. So as an ordered pair, raise your hand if you know the ordered pair if they asked you for it. Go ahead. 0, 1. All right, now to put this on the graph, you make, okay? You make a little axis, and in this case, work smart, not hard, okay? So do I need to make a really big graph or no? No, I only need my x-axis to get to negative 2 and my y to get to 1. So let's make it by 3. If you have to do more, you can, but you don't have to. All right, so negative 2, 0, or x equal negative 2 gets that intercept at negative 2. What's my y-intercept? 1, so let's put that there. And then we literally just draw a line through those 2 points, okay? And so that's our answer. Without, if it's written in that format, you know, we don't need to find a slope and a y-intercept if we're graphing it. All right. The next two are going to be, some of you probably know this already, all right? But I need to point it out to you so that we don't want to get these questions wrong anymore, all right? Sometimes I think you're like, wait, what? Okay, if they ask you to graph x equal 3 or y equal 3, like there's nothing else except for like the letter and then it equals a number. First of all, in your mind, you're like, that looks weird, right? There are 2 kinds of weird graphs. What are the weird graphs? They do certain things. What do they do? David, go. Nope. On. There's horizontal. What else? Vertical. Okay. Now, one of these is horizontal and one of them is vertical. Okay. So x equal 3 means that if you were to make ordered pairs, every x value is 3. Okay. So let me show you. Let's say I make a 1, or I'm sorry, not 1, 3, 1. The x value is 3, right? The x value still has to be 3. 3, 2, let's say. And then 3, 3. I could keep going, but I don't need to. Let me show you what the graph looks like now. If I were to graph those 3 ordered pairs, and I made them small on purpose, because I don't want to make a big giant graph here, because I don't need to. 3, 1 is right 3 up 1. 3, 2 is right 3 up 2. 3, 3 is right 3 up 3. What kind of graph does this make? Vertical. This, and the idea, I hope you guys can eventually just memorize this. If it says x equal a number, you go to that. That's giving you the x-intercept, and you draw the vertical line through it, okay? But this is how you fall back. So this means that y equal a number is going to be what? Horizontal. But I'm going to show you just so that you know the background. Which, if I make the ordered pairs this time, which ones have to all be 3? The y. 3, 3, 3. Work smart, not hard. What should my first one be? 1, 2, right? Okay. And that is just helping us, because we know we just have to make a little graph, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a 3 by 3 again. All right, this time 1, 3 is right 1 up 3, right 2 up 3, right 3 up 3, and you can very clearly see that this is going to make that horizontal line at y equal 3, right? Y equal 3, that's our y-intercept. So far, so good? Great. All right, let's turn the page. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to write this in, all right? So where this gets a little challenging is when we have something written in y equals format or slope-intercept form, right? And we have a fraction, okay? And they ask us to write this in standard form. The steps are this. You want to multiply both sides of the equation by the slope's denominator, okay? And then you want to move the x's to the other side by adding or subtracting, all right? And I'm going to show you what this means in a second. So this is where it gets challenging. Now, this is if there's a fraction. If there's not a fraction, the denominator's 1 really on a slope then. And so you don't have to do that because it's not going to do anything. And then we just like add or subtract the x's. But this is the challenging one, so I wanted to make sure we put it on there. Okay, let me show you what we do. I'm going to rewrite this so there's like space, okay? So I'm just going to space this out y, and then I'm going to leave a little space there because I know I'm going to need it, all right? And then I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a little space, and I'm going to do 3 over 7 x plus 5 like that. Okay, so step 1 is we want to undo the denominator first, basically, right? So to undo a division, we would multiply, but we have to multiply everything by that technically. So we're going to multiply this whole side by 7. So if I multiply this by 7, right? All that's doing is it cancels that 7 out. So you get negative 3x. If you multiply 7 by 5, what do you get? Positive 35, right? But I also have to multiply this side by 7. I guess I didn't need that much space. If I multiply this side by 7, I literally get 7y, correct? That is almost in standard form, right? In standard form, we need x and y to both be on one side, right? So now it says move the x's to the other side. So I want to move that guy by either adding him or subtracting him. What am I going to do? I'm going to add him. So if I add it there, I'm going to add it over here. So the standard form here, I'm going to write this in a different color, is 3x plus 7y equal 35. That's the standard form. We will practice this. I'll help you on the assignment today on this one. This one's the challenging one. Sorry. Ooh, that's a little bit bright, isn't it? Okay. Last but not least is our problem 5. Now, I did, just so you know, copy this for you. I just starred everything. And I'll talk about that in a second. But all right, last is a story problem. A media download store sells songs for $1 each and movies for $12 each. You have $60 to spend. Write and graph an equation that describes the items you can purchase. What are the combinations of songs and movies you can purchase? Okay, here we go. So in this case, $1 each for songs, $12 each for movies, right? So, do we know how many songs and movies yet? All right, so let's go $1 for movie or songs, sorry, 1S. Plus, what else can we buy? How much? $12 for movies. And I just changed it to S and M. You can have it be X and Y. Equals how much money do we got? 60 bucks. All right, so if they ask you to graph this, here's what you do. You can solve for your movies, right? All right, so if I buy 0 songs and I only buy movies, how do I figure out how many movies I can buy? Divide by 12, right? This is really like multiplying by 0 here, isn't it? So this would be 12M equals 60. And that's right. I would divide both sides by 12. So the movies, how many movies can you buy if you don't buy any songs? 5 movies, right? Okay, let's then do it think about it the other way. What if I buy no movies? How many songs can I buy? 60, right? And you can do that in your head, can't you? But the math of that is really this. You're setting this equal to 0. So you're saying 1S equals 60. And you're technically then dividing by 1, right? And songs equals 60. All right, but you're like, how do I graph that? Okay, remember that this is the same as an X and a Y. Okay, so when I graph it, all right, my songs, my x-intercept is how much? 60, right? So on the x, I got to go up to 60. Can I go by tenths? If I label it, I can. All right. So there's my x-intercept. What's my y-intercept then? 5. All right. And so in this case, if I'm going to go by ones, but I'll label it. If you change your scale, you can do that as long as you label it. And then you draw your graph. That's what you do. It's actually easier than trying to find slope and y-intercept here to graph it. All right. That's it. So, just so we are aware, this is how these are related. All right, here's slope-intercept form. I just copied it because I thought it was good, okay? Slope-intercept form, point slope form, and standard form. They all are looking at the same line, only the difference is, right, slope and intercept needs the rise and the run and the y-intercept. Point slope needs 1 point in the slope, and then standard form gives you the x and the y-intercept. They all will make the same graph. Good. All right. On your assignment today, I am not going to assign all of them. For the video, I will post that to Google Classroom, what numbers we do.